This is a Kirblog, and hey, guess what? I stayed up till 3 in the morning to watch this new anime that is called Erased. So I want to talk about how I wish it didn't go away.
Wow, that was really bad, dude. Oh my god, I said that out loud.
Ben!
Hey.
Oh my gosh, how could you say such a mean thing that I wrote for you to say as the intro?
I am a bastard, and also I like peanut. Oh, damn it!
You're an asshole.
Why did you write that for me, Kurt, to say?
So it's it is currently April 12th in the afternoon, and
2019.
2019.
Yes.
I don't know when you'll be hearing this. So really, before I even get into any of what the
I
hell
just want
you're
you to say thank you so much for doing this Kirblog on Erased now. Now that the show is absolutely not relevant and nobody...
Okay. Years later. Well, you've already determined what this is from both the intro and probably the fucking thumbnail, for God's sake. But
yay.
So I decided to do this, get into doing what we're about to do as a backup because I didn't know if I was going to be able to get any of the other 3 guests that I tried to get for Anime April this year because all of them seem to be really, really busy with things. But Ben just doesn't really have a life.
I don't have anything to do. I actually live in Curb's wall. He like broke me out just to like do this Curb.
Half the comments are going to be like, wow, that really makes a lot of sense now after everything. So on a whim, I decided, kind of like in watching the Netflix Ultraman series, I decided, you know what, there's this one show that I've been saying, I think for a while, I really should check this out. I know it's good, and I really do want to sit down and actually make proper time to watch it. And that would be Erased. So on a whim, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and watch this. It's 13 episodes. I got through Ultraman so incredibly quickly. And so in the last, I think 12 hours, I went through all 13 episodes in about 2 quick sittings. I watched the first 9 last night until 3 in the morning, like I was singing, and then the last couple this morning. And wow, I've never fallen so hard for a show so quickly. Good God Almighty.
You know, I normally don't say this because I'm really, really hard on myself. This is one of those few shows where I'm actually I'm okay with the way this turned out. I'm actually kind of...
In terms of your work on it.
Everybody else sounds great. I'm actually okay with the way I sound. But this is a really solid show, and we busted our butts to get exactly what we wanted to.
Well, let's get into that.
Sure,
but before talking about the show itself, a little behind the scenes thing. So actually, my only real experience with the show before was it was 2 years ago, maybe 3.
Maybe 3.
Yeah, it was a while back.
I'd have to look it up, but yeah.
Yeah, because I want to say 2016 sounds about right, but. So I auditioned for the main character of this show, Satoru, and funnily enough, met Kyle McCarley, who of course you all know as many things, Mob and otherwise, at that callback.
Oh, neat.
We both went in because there was a new thing being happening around the parts of Bang Zoom where with Aniplex shows specifically, they were having in-person callback auditions. For major characters to really make sure that they were getting just the right person for it. So since I got the call back, I've talked about this before, but often I'm like, okay, I don't usually like to watch a show in Japanese if I know I might get attached to something and I don't want to hype myself up too much. I did watch the first episode in Japanese before I went into the callback, just to kind of have the full context of what the story was and everything. Or rather, not the full context of the story, but the basic idea of who the character was. Sure. And I went in, and then of course found out a little later that you booked the character, and I was like, well, I can't be upset about that because it's bad, obviously. And then the show came out, and I can't remember exactly why I never got around to watching it.
Oh no, you told me. No, yeah, you were like, oh yeah, Ben got this. Fuck this shit.
Yeah,
it should have been me.
Yes, clearly.
That was your exact words.
That's exactly what happened.
And I still have the spittle in my eye from you yelling that directly in my face.
Oh, I thought that was just the tears welling up from me, verbally abusing you.
Oh, why? You're so mean to me.
No, legit. Actually, that was one of those first cases because I think that was the first time that you beat me out for a role directly. And it was nice because I felt like I'm not upset about that because it's Ben, and 1, I consider you a better actor than me, and 2, you're my friend.
Yay!
So,
I'm friends.
well, I mean, secondarily, you're okay.
Well,
whatever.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm his third tier friend. I think so. Not best friend, not kind of.
You're really giving yourself a lot of credit.
Wow.
My God, wow. That's a joke, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, no. So I can't remember why I never got around to it, but I remember when I saw the first episode, and the first episode really only gives like. It's just an introduction.
Yeah.
It ends with like this is what the premise is, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I definitely want to check this out. But that's all I knew, and I did also know like just by visuals, I knew who like there's a Scarf Girl that Stephanie Shea plays, and there's the school friends, and there's the teacher, and there's the creepy, kind of unintentionally creepy older guy, and then the super mom. Like so visually, I knew who the characters were because I'd see pictures of them and they were on BTVA and whatever. But that was all I knew. And but you actually, if you haven't even gathered this, Ben was the voice of older Satoru, the main character. The young version being shared with Michelle Ruff of
She's very talented.
Good. She's a good dog.
I did not say that.
Sorry, Michelle. No, legit. She's never gonna hear this, but that might be like my new favorite performance of hers ever.
She's really good.
So good.
Yeah.
So I guess. Okay. So as far as talking about the show itself goes, since it's been out for 2 to 3 years,
It's okay to talk about spoilers.
yeah,
at this
we're
point, right?
gonna go.
Okay.
Yeah, because Ultraman I tried to be not spoilery with because it just came out.
Yeah.
But this show's been out for a while, so we're gonna talk about spoilers. Just as a heads up, it is on Hulu, both dub and sub. The live action series is on Netflix.
Okay.
And I don't know if the manga is being published by anybody. I'll have to look that up later. But yeah, like stop this and go check it out. I say straight up, just go watch it because it's fucking amazing.
It's a cool show.
It's seriously. And then come back and then you can hear us talk about the actual thoughts of everything. But we're gonna spoil everything. There are tons of crazy twists and things with this. But I guess long-winded introduction.
The villain is. Just kidding. Sorry, just
The
kidding.
villain is Ben Diskin.
That's right.
The whole
It was
time.
me the whole time. Not the character. It's me, Ben Diskin.
He's just in there. He just shows up like some white guy.
And I'm here, and I murdered a bunch of people.
I
Bye.
killed lots of children.
Yay. Wait.
So working on this show.
Yeah.
So I've had Alex Von David on several voice Octobers ago. He's an excellent director who puts his heart and fucking soul into everything. He's done Sword Art. He's done Madoka Magica.
Kill la Kill.
Kill la Kill. Oh God.
I'm drawing a blank, but I know.
Other things. Blue Exorcist.
Yeah. So shit.
There's some other like big ones that I should be knowing.
Did you do Konosuba?
Oh yes, he did. Yeah,
Okay.
very recently, Konosuba, which just came out. Yeah, he's excellent. He is a director who really, really like puts his all into anime, like for real. Wonderful guy. And so you got to work with him. But was this the first time you worked with him?
No, first time I worked with him was Kill la Kill.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, forgetting the order of everything.
Yeah. How dare you?
But this was. Was this the first time it was like in a main character capacity with him?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe so.
Okay. So working on the show must have been bizarre. Was the whole thing out subbed already by that point? I think. Right?
Yes. So
Okay.
this was not a simuldub or anything like that. The whole show was already available, and I believe it's called like I'm gonna butcher it. I think it's Boku ga Inai Machi, and it like means like the
town I left,
or the town where no one remembers me, or
something like yeah.
I don't speak Japanese,
Yeah.
so I don't know. But yeah, it was all available in subbed, and so I got to see some of it before the audition process. But working on this, the first episode, just doing all of my lines, took us 7 hours.
Yeah, that's about right.
And this wasn't just because of like being picky. We went to town on a sound design perspective. The idea was we wanted it to sound different when it's his inner thoughts versus when he's just speaking.
Yeah.
And at first we said like, well, we're going to use 2 different microphones. We're going to use a shotgun mic for when it's like kind of like far away, when it's just him talking, and the U87 big diaphragm condenser mic, like right in your face when it's time for him to talk, to see if we can make it just literally sound different. And it didn't really quite work, so we wound up just changing the placement of the Neumann in order to get the sound we were looking for.
Oh, okay.
But like all that process took a whole bunch of time. We figured to do the inner stuff, we agreed on was like I would just simply sit down for any inner monologue stuff, because they wanted it to sound like I'm just sort of sitting there watching this thing happening in front of me and commenting on. So they wanted my whole body posture to change. And for everything else, it would anything where he's actually speaking, I'd be standing, and more like a typical voiceover session for me.
So were you switching back and forth on the fly, or were you like doing all of the non-mental stuff and then the mental stuff?
First all the non-mental stuff and then the mental stuff, and then they would have to reposition the mic and bring it in close to it to give it that more kind of intimate sort of sound like this.
Right. Funnily enough, I completely forgot about this. In Mewtwo Strikes Back, they did something kind of similar with the mix, where like when he's thinking to himself, because obviously Mewtwo just speaks entirely telepathically. When he's speaking to himself, it's that same kind of thing where it's like closer. I think like the stereo mix was different, and then when he's speaking to others, they have like the filter as if he's like placing his thoughts in their mind, which was kind of cool. So yeah, and remind me, the Neumann mic is like the little tiny one that they clip to you. Is that what that is?
No. The Neumann mic is Neumann probably they make a bunch of different mics, but no, theirs is the big one. It's the one that you see in like every major recording session.
The little tiny one? It's like for like live action dubbing. What is that called?
Those are called lapel mics.
Lapel, thank you.
But that's not a brand. That's
sorry.
just
This is shop talk.
Sorry,
yeah,
it's microphone time.
Also, I threw out the term mental, like as if they would know that. Mental is like kind of like on a script. Sometimes it'll be not in every case, but it'll be labeled for like
a crazy person.
If it's
right.
If it's an internal monologue, like a thought line,
yes.
Then it'll be labeled like M for mental, but it differs from place to place. Nonetheless, so did you watch the whole thing? Once you got the part, did you watch the whole show in Japanese ahead of time?
I believe I did for this one.
Okay, because you don't always do that.
I don't always do that, no. Especially if it's like a long-running show and I'm coming in way late, then I'm like, I'll just figure it out, bro.
Yeah.
But no, this one, I think I sat down and watched the whole thing. I wanted to see what it was, and I thought it was just a really cool show.
Yeah. I think definitely. See, it's funny because back in the day, this is kind of a generational thing between people Ben and I's age, and I think people who were a little older than us that have been doing anime longer, is that back then, well, not only did people probably not have or necessarily maybe want to make the time, but it just wasn't accessible if we're like, oh, I can go ahead and watch this whole show in Japanese ahead of time, and then therefore know, especially if it's a 13-episode show and it's like, pretty digestible in like a weekend or whatever, then you can know the whole entire arc of the show and the full context of everything in the story, which that's what I did for Mob Psycho. And a lot of people, I think, in our kind of gen of people now, when possible, we often try to do that.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like, if it really does help.
If it's a complicated show with like very detailed characters, it really does help to actually know who you're playing ahead of time. And also if there's any kind of twists coming along in the plot, you kind of know, oh, okay, I'm supposed to be giving somebody a hint that means this, but I have to make sure it doesn't come across as too hinty, as opposed to just winging it,
Yeah, and especially because like there are certain characters, Yashiro, who I want to talk about more in depth a little later, where like the subtleties of like, what is this character thinking right now? And especially if you know things later and then you go back and watch it again, it's like, kind of stuff like that, which is really cool. And again, Alex Von David being a person who like is very detail oriented and really has like a full picture of everything going on, like, it's interesting you worded as like sound design too, because like I love that about casting and like the intricacies of like directing particular scenes and like the way characters speak, and did he write it as well?
That was like the kind of thing where like, here's the way Alex works is that if something isn't working, he'll say, okay, let's take a 5-10 minute break. And you think that means, oh, okay, we're all going to go on break, and he's going to go outside and maybe have a cigarette or like hang out in the green room. Mm-hmm. No, it means you go on break. I'm going to sit here and figure out the exact perfect word for this. That is the kind. This is like we were talking about reviewing a show before you actually do it. Mm-hmm. With Alex Von David, honestly, you don't have to, because the research will be done for you because he is on top of that. Yeah,
for sure. If anything, often what I've done, I remember when we started on Mob, like I just straight up told Casey, I'm like, I've seen it all. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I don't have to spend any time telling you about what the fuck is going on. You just do the acting. And I'm like, cool, yay. So sometimes, in my case, I've tried to make it also a time saver for people's convenience. But yeah, no, like even Blue Exorcist, which is really the only show that I've ever actually worked with him on, like in full, and so a little bit of Sword Art as well. Like he'll explain absolutely everything. Like, okay, so this is why this character that's across the hall to you is doing this right now, and the reason you're here for, I don't know, it's 10 minutes later. It's like, okay, so we're gonna do the first line.
It is.
I love you, Alex.
It's very helpful though. You know, if you come in there and you're like, I don't know who I'm playing, what I'm doing. Don't worry.
Yeah, especially because like not every, not to be specific. Sometimes not every director will care enough, or sometimes they don't, like, just like, I don't have time, we have to get this done tomorrow, and I don't know everything, which is unfortunate.
Sometimes, and also the good thing about Aniplex is that like they're also very particular about what they want the dub to sound like.
Was Hiroe with you guys on this one?
But this was a while ago. I believe so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say. Oh yeah. Yes. She definitely was.
Okay. Hiroe is this very nice woman who works with Aniplex, their U.S. division, I believe, right?
Yes.
And she is often like, I would say she's there like for almost everything for an Aniplex dub production.
Yeah, it's the two of them working together. She makes sure that like the translation is dead on and like so we don't veer too far off from the script, and Alex makes sure that it is localized properly so that it doesn't sound like a bunch of weird nonsense that just isn't how people talk.
And let me say on that note, one of the things right away that I liked, when just even rewatching the first episode again in 3 years, because I remembered everything like very distinctly in that first episode from when I watched it back then. Right away, one of the things that I loved is how just like biz casual the language is.
Yeah.
And in fact, even specifically, and maybe this is gonna probably sound weird to people, but the use of cursing, because I'm the type of guy who, when it's meant to be like, this is really real, like this is treated as very, very grounded and realistic, like that's the tone of the show, no matter what, anime or otherwise. The usage of that kind of language just in how people talk casually, I really like.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, and the thing is that, and I, for the record, I love this show. I did a Kirblog about it too. The Netflix Castlevania. People rip on that show for like just you fucking shit ass fucking cunt piece of shit fuck ass, and I'm like, all right, cool, we get it, and I understand that. Sometimes it can go, and I mean I still like the show for sounding like that because of how like hoarse it is, but in general, when like you could be like you asshole or whatever, because you don't even hear. Actually, even this isn't a curse, but you know what? I was reminded when I rewatched Yu Yu Hakusho with Amy a couple of years ago, and she pointed out that like you never hear "oh my god" in anime dubs like fucking ever, or even in like shows in general anymore. Like you rarely hear that. I think because of just like or God damn it, because just like that's like controversial in a different way, I guess, kind of thing. But no, I loved like right away that like that they're really talking like people.
Yeah.
Minus when sometimes they'd say like, oh no, she's gonna kick my butt, and I'm like, you could have said ass.
Yeah.
But that aside, so right away I'm like, okay, this cast is like nigh perfect. The script is excellent. I already know the premise I'm gonna like. So then I got into it. Hi, we're 18 minutes in. Now we're gonna talk about the actual story.
Oh yeah, the show.
Here we go. Okay, I hope that was all informative.
Let's talk more about microphones.
Yes,
here's
please.
my favorite. You see, I think that the
Samson C01U that we're recording this on is a piece of shit, and I need a new microphone. Anyway, so remembering when I watched the first episode back then, pardon me, I immediately was reminded of this movie called The Girl Who Let Their Time, which was by the Summer Wars director. It was it was actually one of the first movies that I think that like he got really big for, like before Summer Wars and Boy and the Beast and all that stuff.
And that thing from Digimon the movie. Yes.
You mean Summer Wars?
Yes.
It was good.
But it was good. It was good.
It was pretty. Okay.
Thank you. At least I got that.
So immediately I love the concept of like, okay, because time travel is hard to do.
Excuse me. How dare you?
What?
I am young Xehanort in Kingdom Hearts, and I did it perfectly.
Incredibly easy to understand.
Thank you.
Time travel is, I remember having a conversation with a guy about Back to the Future and how like they're excellent movies, but even their use of time travel is kind of inconsistent and has some problems, etc. So for me, I've become very critical of the usage of time travel in stuff now, especially when it becomes very complicated. But the usage of it, the revival thing in this, was actually really straightforward and easy to understand, and it was different. I remember. Have you seen much of the X-Men movies?
Which one?
The more recent ones with like James McAvoy and all those.
I think I saw First Class a long time ago.
Okay, so in Days of Future Past, I don't. Somebody can correct me on this. I don't know if this is taken from something in the comics, but In that movie, they give Shadowcat, who normally has like the phasing through walls powers.
Oh, right.
They give her a new ability where she can phase somebody into the past by like sending their. It's actually it's a little bit like the Kingdom Hearts thing where you send their consciousness, like their some kind of spiritual state of being in them back in time to when they had a body. So she sends Wolverine back to like the 80s or whatever to like prevent basically like I almost said the apocalypse from happening, but that's a different movie. But yeah, so it's kind of like that, and I was like, oh, okay. They introduced the concept of the like he goes back in time. It's like Whis' like temporal do-over thing in Super.
Oh, okay.
A little bit like that, where it's like okay, it's usually very short bursts and it's over something very trivial, like or not trivial, but like something
dog poo.
Yeah. And in this case, it's like okay, he's somehow this supernatural ability that he has through whatever means is sending him back so far enough to fix a problem that was really never resolved that is directly tied into how this is now.
Yeah.
And so just being introduced to that concept alone, I was like, okay, I'm going to like this because it establishes the rules. They're very clear. They're creative and different. And little did I know how they were going to continue to utilize them was varied and like always constantly kept me guessing, like created interesting twists like 4 different times throughout the whole length of the show. And the way it was paced out as well, because of, I mean, it's 13 episodes, but like every individual thing feels like a fucking movie onto itself with like how many different things all happen in the span of like 20, 30 minutes. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Well, yeah, they if I recall, I think the manga itself is actually kind of long, and so this is fairly condensed.
Yeah. I love that more anime is doing that lately. That makes me very happy.
You don't want filler and filler and filler and filler?
Oh, oof. Well, I guess as far as just the time travel thing goes, because I don't know how many other time travel like movies and games and shows and things. Oh, well then again, but Xehanort, you have a first-hand experience with how complicated that shit can be.
Totes my goats. Yeah.
But thoughts on that?
The time travel thing? I thought it was cool. Yeah, I like the idea of time travel where it's not the Back to the Future kind, where it's literally just you going there, but like you have to be in your own body, and so you are who you were back then, but with like everything you know now. The only thing that I kind of take issue with when I see stuff like this is, oh, come on, you'd give yourself the lottery numbers. Like,
oh, God,
you know you would mess with
you'd have the sports almanac and become
big time. Big time. Like, I would just be like, Mommy, as like a little kid, buy Google. Just like, she's like, what's that?
Buy shares in stock, Microsoft. Christ.
But yeah, no. I think it's a good use. It's very simple. It keeps everything in order. There's nothing crazy. I was actually expecting them to go way beyond that. This is getting kind of into spoilers, but not too much.
Well, we've already. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, go
so, what I was expecting, like this. Okay, the twist in this show actually totally fooled me, and everybody's gonna be like, "Dude, it's so freaking obvious." I like overthought the whole thing.
As to who the killer was.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I thought it was. I believe his name is Kenya, the little boy.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm like, this kid is way too smart and way too mature.
Right.
He's also a time traveler.
Right.
He's the killer in his old. That's what I thought it was. Mm-hmm. But like, no, they didn't do that. I'm the only one with time travel power, bitches.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Well, it's funny. I did think for a minute that Kenya might have, if not like also been a time traveler, just had some kind of other supernatural sense of knowing what was going on, like really knowing what was going on. Because I'm sure, like, even though they don't show it, I would bet that Satoru probably didn't really tell him what was happening because like it was just so unbelievable that even his best friend probably wouldn't have really bought that, and he had to be kind of smart with it. But I did think for a minute maybe he's got something going on. I didn't think he was the killer though. It's interesting because so with Yashiro,
the killer.
I did, the way that, well, you know what? No. I'm gonna hold off. I still want to say that for a little bit later because I'm still on the note of the time travel thing. I am actually reminded of something else about this too. Funnily enough, speaking of Back to the Future, I haven't rewatched the movies in a while, but on a whim, I was going back and watching some like interviews with some of the cast and stuff, and I think it was because I was interested about how it was Eric Stoltz was originally going to be Marty McFly, and then I don't know if you know that whole.
No.
So short version, he was originally going to be Marty McFly because they couldn't get Michael J. Fox. It wasn't working. there were problems on set with people, and like he was a good actor, and they were all like, yeah, he's good, but also he's not like, we need more of a comedic, like funny romantic hero, and he's a little more serious and not getting quite the laughs we want, etc. But a key moment that I think also kind of solidified, like, yeah, this is not the right fit, was Lee Thompson, who was the mom in that, who like, and he goes back and he meets her and she like falls in love with him or whatever. So she was talking about, because I knew Eric and we were friends, but I remember there was a moment where I was like shaking my head where we read through the whole script and they asked, so what does everybody think? And Eric Stoltz, very serious, taking himself seriously kind of actor, is like, well, I think it's a tragedy. But he made this very poignant statement about how like my character, because he was very method. So he said, everybody call me seriously. Everybody call me Marty, etc. Except for Leah Thompson, who I want to make out with Offset. Seriously, look it up. He talked about how like I remember an entire lifetime that no one else has lived now. Because if you remember at the end of the movie, the whole entire timeline has changed because of the way that he's changed George and Lorraine's, I think Lorraine's relationship. And so when he gets back to the future, his life is completely different, and his relationship with his family are totally changed. But the point that he made is true. Is like Lee Thompson's point was like probably not the best place to bring that up here, haha, when he mentions that. But it's an interesting point in the fact of like, like when you change the way the future plays out, for better or for worse, and if you keep all your memories of things that didn't happen anymore, or that have played out completely differently, especially because the last part of the show where like it's completely different now. There is a little bit of like a kind of like fucked up thing to it, kind of like that chain of memories-esque kind of thing where it's like I have memories that other people don't have. Were they ever real in the first place? Am I going to lose those? Are they going to be overwritten by what history is now? It's like scary to think about in some sense.
Absolutely. No, I mean well, like the stuff that you're talking about is basically the stuff of horror when you really think about it, because who you are, your brain, having that taken away from you, or having you just be like, oh, I'm the only person who knows this stuff, but it's not real now, so does that mean I'm insane? That's kind of a messed up thing.
And there's no one that I could feasibly talk to about that wouldn't think I'm fucking insane, etc.
Say hi to the Nut Hut, because that's where you're going, buddy.
I think like within the second episode, because it's funny. It's also almost like that Detective Conan kind of thing, where it's like it's the kid body and it's the head, the adult brain, the 30-year-old voice, and the fact that he's like, and there's movies like what is that movie with there's some movie. It's like, it's not the one with Tom Hanks, is it? No, that's when that's Big. That's the opposite. Am I thinking of some movie where it's like I'm a kid again and like I have my adult brain somehow?
Well, I mean, there is a movie coming out called Little that is basically the reverse of Big. But I don't think you're thinking of the same.
I feel like there's somebody in the comments. Well, it's so obvious. It's like with some famous actor,
like
Robin Williams or something like, maybe, I don't know. Whatever. Okay. Nonetheless. But no, that's intriguing. And even, I think it's the second episode that he's like, am I going to be living out the entire rest of my life now? Like, starting from this point?
Fair enough.
And it's funny because I think that sometimes, like, it's human to have that thought. Of, like, not even, like, to go back and fix a problem of, like, what if I went back and I was, like not even time traveling, just I have my now brain when I was, like, a kid or a teenager or whatever, and, like, I could, like even something like Shallow, like, oh, I could like totally like destroy the bullies that picked on me or whatever, because I could be like, your mom's gonna leave you, or just shit like that.
See, I would, my place was just like, oh, I'd be a better actor, as opposed to just like hurting people. Jeez, Curb.
Wow.
Holy crap! I mean, you went to a dark place.
I have a lot of issues to work out.
Oh my goodness.
I don't really want to do that. I actually just want to get all the lottery numbers, like you mentioned. Like,
sure.
That's the real fact. Not really.
Yes, really.
So we talked about the time travel stuff.
Yeah.
Talk about the characters a little bit. Another thing I give a ton of credit to this show for is virtually every single character in this show was utilized really well. With the minor exception of like a couple of the school friends who didn't like, they weren't a detriment or anything. They were just like, we're here too.
Yeah.
And even one of the other victim, I was literally just joking to Karina Bedgar this morning on Twitter about how like I wish you had more screen time.
Yeah.
The other girl who was one of the 3 victims.
Right.
I was like, you could have maybe introduced her a little earlier and like worked her in, or maybe she even could have like been in place of one of the other school friends or something. But no, and even you've seen Stranger Things, right?
Yes.
Yeah. By total, nothing to do with each other. Like, gave me the dynamic of like the kids, like Satoru and his friends, definitely gave me some Stranger Things vibes.
Yes.
In good ways.
Yeah.
Like the bond that they kind of have, and the very like, haha, we're going around doing dumb shit kind of things.
They're being kids.
Yeah.
It's nice to see kids written as kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
Doing kid things.
Like playing Dragon Quest.
Well, and not Final Fantasy. Well, especially because and because of how real the show is, like even between like the horror stuff and some of the light sci-fi things, like just letting them get to be kids and like we're gonna go have a party here, like, and especially like probably more than any of them, the usage of Kaio, like precious Babu. Oh my God, I must protect this child. And literally every moment, it was like. Kaio was like this like weird like meter going back and forth of like, oh, this precious baby, oh, I just want her to be happy. Like any moment of her ever like getting to be the fucking moment where she's like,
party?
Yeah, no, not the birthday party, when she stays over and mom made breakfast. And she blinks and she sees all the awful, like, here's a piece of bread, here's cup ramen, here's like 5 cents to go buy something from a vending machine, and then she blinks and she just starts crying over this like eggs and bacon, like full breakfast that Sachiko made. And I'm just like, oh my fucking God. And so any moment like that, I'm like, yes, I want happiness for her. And otherwise, every other moment, I'm like, she's gonna die. Every other fucking second, somebody's gonna come and fucking kill this poor girl. Oh my God.
You just described the Gretzko to me. So yeah. I just want the sad red panda to be happy.
Except there's not the threat of death.
Well,
Well, season 2, you don't know, guys. Season 2 has got death in it.
No, what's that thing? There's a word for like hiroshi. It's the Japanese term for like being worked to death.
Oh,
that's like a real thing now.
It's
just like yikes.
Just like conditions of just like you never stop.
Right, to the point where people can kill themselves.
Yeah,
like it's horrible.
Yeah. Or they actually do, which is really, really sad.
Yeah, no, it's, Anyway, back on to more positive things.
Happy things. So, murder.
Yay! Child murder.
I'm trying to think of some. So actually, on the note of Satoru,
yes.
Overall, I really liked him a lot as a protag.
Yeah.
I think that the one thing that I wish that they would have explored a little bit more with him, because and actually, okay, I texted you this last night. When I was binging like the first 9 episodes, I was like, I'm relating a lot to him. He reminds me a lot of myself, not in a bad way. He was reminding me a lot of myself, and it's weird because by no intention, there are bits of the way that you voice him that also remind me of like the way that I talk, and we do stupid impressions of each other all the time.
That's true.
Anyway.
But most my impression of you is just fucking goddamn it.
Okay, fucking.
First of all, shit. Also, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. Fuck.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ross.
It's good.
Yes. Yeah.
You know Joe's impressions better though.
Probably.
His impression is just like interrupting himself to remind himself of another thought about something else that has nothing to do with it. My head's perfect. Nonetheless, the fact that he was an artist, I feel like probably all the things that I'm sure most people would, or a lot of people would. If you're in that position of I can change the future from this bad thing that happened, fuck all. Probably would do a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
If not maybe all of the same things. Maybe not to the same like extremity, because he really was like, I think because of the fact that he was so resourceful as the 30-year-old, like mentally, that he was like, I know how to do this. I know, like, or even the one like really like whoa moment where he almost pushes Kaio's mom over this, which I was like, that misled me to think like, is he the killer? Is he actually insane? Like, what the fuck's happening?
Yeah.
You've played leads in a number of things. What is it about Satoru that set him apart for you? What would you say?
What I liked about him is that he just felt like a real person. Like he's the most normal person with time travel abilities I've seen. You know what I mean? He's just like, it's like you can tell that like he really doesn't want them because it doesn't help him.
Yeah.
His life just kind of sucks. Things are not going his way. He's trying to make it as an artist. Everybody says his art is uninspired and they don't care about it and that he's too old to be like in with the hip kids and doing all the good shit. And he's just like, God, fuck my life. Oh, God, some kid's about to get run over. Oh, here comes the time shit.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Well, it's interesting. Even I almost Irie, who Jeremy was brilliant on, of course. It's interesting because he's the way that I feel like through Irie's eyes we see like the real kind of deal with him, where it's like, no, you're like a good person and you're really creative and like you're cool and nice and like I see that in you, even though you seem to don't see that in yourself. That's that aspect of him, and as far as like his own development, because Irie's development is great. Kaya, all of them have fantastic development. Satoru does a lot of really cool shit. He's a great character. His development, I felt like, especially in the beginning, was something that I wish they explored a little bit more, particularly with so the whole like superhero thing, where he was remembering like that tokusatsu type of like Power Ranger thing. That was something that I actually kind of wish that they integrated a little bit more. I know it's based on a manga. I don't know some of the differences.
Yeah, that's like one of those things that was kind of glossed over.
Yeah, well, or not even so much glossed over, but like it comes up like halfway through the show. And I was like, see, and this is just my own thoughts of it or whatever. I'm not trying to shit on the actual work because I think it's brilliant. I feel like it could have been interesting if they maybe not only introduced that aspect of like his kind of mantra of who he is, of like be like that, you know, still looking to that superhero, I gotta, you know, do the right thing kind of thing, but also maybe even integrating that into the stories that he writes. Like, because the fact that he's an artist, like that's a cool aspect of him that I feel like they maybe could have had more of that as part of them, and like he could have maybe talked about that more with the other kids or something. Like, admittedly, that's probably also the way that like I would have identified with them more, because that's a thing. I've been an artist forever.
Yeah.
But seeing that, I was like, oh, I wanted to see more and know more about that, and like that would have made it even more interesting to me. But I loved following what he did. Like all of his actions were always like, yep, that's the right thing to do, and like that's the sensible mistake. And the funniest thing, and I love the way that you guys treated this on the acting side, was his two quirks. His two catchphrase mental quirks, which if you want to talk about some of those a little bit.
Sure. Like, I mean, one of them is he'll say something and completely forget that it's not his inner monologue, that he's actually talking, because he's so used to just hearing this voice, and he goes and he realizes, oh wow, I said that out loud. Oh God!
And speaking his mind more.
Yes, and everybody's just staring at him like, did you really just say that?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Which is funny to me, because it's like that wouldn't have happened if not for the fact that he is now mentally older.
Yeah.
So he has this whole thing of like, I just created a new quirk for myself in my past retroactively.
Oops.
Because of the person that I am, like, you know, 15, 20 years later, and I'm like, what the fuck? The other thing because so this show deals with this, and this is going to lead into a little bit of what I want to talk about Yashiro. This show deals with discomfort in a lot of different, really interesting, subtle, and cool ways that don't make me roll my fucking eyes the way a lot of anime that I love still often make me do, especially when it comes to sexual stuff. Because even shows that I adore will still be prone to, we'll say, cultural things that make probably like most Americans be like, haha, don't do that. That's not funny. And that's makes me uncomfortable.
Like the perverted character.
And not even, most of the time it's that kind of stuff. But, so there's this thing, and maybe you know of this. So scientifically, there's a thing about where you tend to be most drawn to, whether it's, you know, romantically or sexually or just like any kind of attraction, to generally people that are of your own age. Okay. If you're a kid, you're attracted to other kids that you know around.
Yeah.
If you're, you know, if you're an adult, generally you're attracted to adults.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Hence, you know.
Yeah.
And whatever shades in between that happen, and whatever amounts of differences that are, you know, make sense.
Yeah.
Depending on that time of your life or whatever. The funny thing is with Satoru being, he's what, 10, I think,
I think
right?
he's 10.
Yeah. So he goes from 30
Right.
to, or no, 29. 29 to 9. No, 9, because his 10th birthday was coming up on March.
That's right. That's part of the plot.
Yeah.
Of course.
So, which was good use of numbers to keep track of shit. Thank you. So I'm 9 again, and
I have a 9-year-old body.
So I have a 9-year-old body, and there's a 9-year-old girl who's cute.
Right.
And in this moment, like, naturally, I'm finding, wow, she's so cute and she's pretty, and I'm totally clearly developing a crush on her.
Right, but also oh my god, I'm freaking 20. I'm about to turn 30. Dude, what the fuck?
And I've only saw the first episode in Japanese, so I don't know how the Seiyu portrayed it, but certainly the way you did, where it's like, shit, shut up, stop.
Please.
That's not okay that I'm doing that. Yes, I get, but it's funny, and it's not eye roll inducing, because realistically, that's probably how it would go.
Yeah.
You probably would feel like, oh, I have a crush on this girl because I'm 9 again.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with me?
Yeah.
So, is the second thought. And the way, and the fact that they played it comedically, it's genuinely funny and not like, ha 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 anyway, like, which is normally how those kind of jokes go in anime.
Sure.
So I loved that. And also, the shippy guy in me, like, the actual relationship between, even though logically they don't get together because of how the timeline drifts apart.
Right.
But the fact that they have that really sweet, like, romantic shit aside, that really sweet relationship, and the payoff being she comes back and thanks him for everything that she did for him.
And she
It's
turns
like,
out
oh
okay.
my God. Yeah, and she's like happy and
Yeah.
like has a kid and everything, and who knows what the fuck, where the mom fucked off to, etc. You know.
Yeah. Not that anybody's like missing her. Yeah.
She was.
She was the
She
villain.
was effective, though.
Honestly, yeah.
And Carrie, like,
Holy
Carrie,
God.
you're very good at that.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Wow. Yeah, Carrie did a great job making me fucking hate that character, because that character is the villain to me. Not the murderer.
Yeah.
The mom.
Yeah.
The
Well,
mom
just
is
because of
fucking-
how like fucked up, like realistically fucked up she is. Like,
and it's like oh, I was abused, so now I'm going to abuse you, and that's a real thing too. That kind of,
and not that. Listen, not that what Yashiro does isn't real too.
It is.
But the fact that, like, because we don't see that happen unless we're cops,
Right.
or we're seeing it in media.
Yeah.
We, in life, probably at some point it's like, I think that my friend gets beaten,
Right.
or like something like that happens somewhere, either firsthand or secondhand or third hand.
nobody falls
like,
down the stairs that much.
Yeah,
Like, there's all these bruises, and you're like, I don't think he's just hitting into a doorknob over and over again.
That it makes sense that you would say that, like comparatively, I think, because of just how, like, that hurts, because I could see that happening, like, before my eye, and even the silhouetted, like, the black the black silhouettes over the red background when, like, she first hits her. I'm like, ooh, okay, I don't know if I can watch that.
Yeah.
Oh wow, Jesus.
Yeah. It does not pull punches. There's not a lot of graphic violence in this show, but like there's enough suggestive stuff.
Psychologically, it does not fuck around.
No, it really
It's
doesn't.
not even. Other than and Litmus Test is the first episode with Sachiko getting stabbed. That's not even. It's the first fucking episode.
Yeah,
but,
spoiler.
That's about as gory as it gets.
Yeah.
So it's almost just like, all right, rip the Band-Aid off, and once you know what you're in for.
Yeah.
You want, which I like, because a lot of other shows, it's just like, and now the twist is, holy shit, really weird, dark things are happening. Which is like, no, you know what you're in for. Like, from the beginning, this is what's going on.
This is not going to be My Little Pony. Not
Well,
quite.
I wouldn't quite think so. Speaking of Sachiko, Supermom, love her.
Yeah.
She's great. One of the things I was worried about was
a witch.
oh, that too. So the tertiary catchphrase was great.
But what was the second one? Wait.
You're 20. It's
You're
I
29?
said that out loud.
Oh,
you're 29. Which at first I thought, like, oh, is that how? Because, like, also I barely ever hear people use bitch in dubs.
No, it was not
At
for
first
that.
I thought, like,
Yeah.
whoa, that's weird, but and also that's rude. And then I realized, oh wait, no, he's actually thinking that she's like some kind of weird, like supernatural.
psychic,
How do you know that shit?
Yeah. I think that what was it? Oh gosh, it's a type of Japanese spirit. I believe that's what he was thinking she was.
Like Mahoji, probably some kind of Madoka Magica related type.
No,
thing.
it's
no.
like,
I mean,
okay.
like, in terms of the terminology, I would bet
I
something
should
like that.
know this too. Yokai, that's what it is. I think in the Japanese, if I remember correctly, he's like yokai, like oh, geez, she's some kind of mystical. No, she's just very perceptive.
Yeah. And also, I mean, like,
which is, by the way, I like that
Yeah.
the mom, when he's a kid, is fucking listening to him. It's not that
Yeah.
typical fucking parent trope
Yep.
of, oh, you're just a dumb kid, shut the
Yeah.
fuck up. She's like, what's going on?
She's the mom that I think that every kid like wishes their mom probably was more like, which is
Yes.
kind of harsh to say, but it's like that idealized, like, she just always is there for you, always believes you, always
Yes.
has your back, and more than, I mean, like, I feel like the biggest like fantasy sequence is when she stands up to Kaio's mom,
Yeah.
because it's like, you know, I'm sure, yeah, yes, there are cases like that where that happens, and somebody would be like, no, fuck that shit, I'm gonna go over there and do something about it, and
Yeah.
good on you to the people out there that do that.
Yes.
But like, often it doesn't happen. So I think that like Sachiko being that like, yeah, I wish, man, the mom would just show up and be like, yeah, well, you treat your daughter like shit, and I treat my son like perfectly because I'm great. And it's totally like, I wish that it was like this kind of thing. And I love my mom, by the way. That's not any kind of indication of anything. My mom is wonderful. But
So is my mom.
But I feel like, yeah, your mom's really nice too. How's she doing?
Have you ever met my mom?
No, I was more trying to insinuate something gross. Sorry, Ben's mom.
What? What?
Let's move on from that joke.
Was this like-
Let's move on. I'm aborting that joke anyway.
Oh my god. Okay, what is the one thing we don't talk about on
Wow,
Kirblogs?
I deserve that. I deserve that. Anyway.
Anyway,
No,
nobody will
ever
get that.
understand
It's fine.
Anyway, yeah, no, Sachiko's great. Also, she's hot. Anyway, moving
Yeah.
on. Who of the main ones? Irie, I think, was well utilized.
Yeah.
Irie was, I remember, yeah, during the ending, I was like, where is she? Where is she?
Oh,
Where is
yes.
she? Where is she? She needs some kind of little moment or something. And it was totally like Your Name, like at the very end,
Yeah.
with like when they meet each other or whatever. Oh, spoiler if you haven't seen Your Name, but go fucking watch it. For
That's a
Christ's
good movie
sake, sorry.
too.
Yeah, she was fun. I did mention before she has that whole deal of like, I see the good in you.
Yeah.
And also her backstory is kept like straightforward and simple enough to where it's like, oh, that's why she is the way that she is. And they didn't make her a romantic interest.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Well,
It didn't need to be.
That's the nice thing. The lack of like
Forced romantic interest.
stereotypical like sexual like tension overtone type shit or whatever. Like it wasn't there.
Yeah.
Like that's so rare in anime. It's so rare.
Yeah.
And it was really, really well done. And then even just like him getting to meet her again at the end, it wasn't like, and now we're gonna start dating.
No.
It's just like, oh my god, this person who believed in me and was there for me in like the literal worst time of my fucking life, I can get to see them again and like start fresh and like be cool, and like now I'm a better person for that.
Yeah.
And that now I lived up to be the person that they saw in me.
It's kinda
It's
nice.
like, oh my god.
Yeah. It comes full circle.
Any other ones that you liked that stood out to you can remember?
Let's see. Gosh, I really liked his childhood friends.
Yeah.
I just thought they were funny. It was like that nice little bit of like levity because the story has a lot of very heavy themes in it.
Yeah.
So anytime it was just a bunch of kids acting like little shithead kids, I was like, yay, okay,
Yeah,
a little bit of
yeah.
enjoyment, thank you. Just a little bit of a break from the like.
Gaku was like the fat friend.
Yeah,
I think, right?
he's funny.
And
the
Hiromi was the effeminate kind of one.
right that everybody thinks is a girl.
Yeah.
Like, oh no.
And by the way, I one of my other favorite moments is like, so when they're focusing on, okay, we've saved Kaio, now we got to make sure we protect the other kids that
Right.
he knows are the victims. And Hiromi like has that moment where he's like holding his hand and he's blushing a little bit of just
Yeah.
like he knows he's gay.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait, who does Kaio marry? Doesn't she marry him?
Wait, does she marry Hiromi? No, I think she marries. Doesn't she marry the glasses kid?
Oh, maybe I am getting.
Yeah,
I think I'm getting
maybe.
those two confused.
I could be I could be wrong about that though. Somebody will correct me.
Yeah,
because she
everybody.
mentions who she married, but I forgot like if because of the names I was kind of losing.
Yeah.
I forget if it was either Hiromi is the effeminate kid,
Mm-hmm.
and then the other one who's Ryan Bartley played was the glasses kid, and he didn't
Yes.
get to do like anything.
Nah.
He was the one that was most like, I'm here too. Because even like Gaku, like he gets with Karina's character,
Right.
Because he's like, come to our secret base, and she's like, okay. And I was like, hey, good on you, kid. way to be Josh Peck about it.
Jeez.
I love Josh Peck. He's great. Should we talk about Yashiro?
Sure.
All right. Jesus H. fucking Christ, he
Yeah.
scares the shit out of me.
Yes.
What an effective villain.
Yeah.
I don't want to go so far as to say he's one of my new favorite villains of all time, because there were some things about him I feel maybe could have maybe been explored a little bit further to give him just a touch more depth, but he was deep enough that I was like,
I could see it happening.
Yeah, like he was interesting, and execution wise, my God, he was effective.
Ooh, yeah.
When I liken characters to like Sensui, like from Yu Yu, then I'm like, okay, this character really unsettles me. Like this villain character unsettles me in all of the right ways, and it was so fucking well done.
Yes.
And David Collins, who will never hear this either, shout out to him. Excellent, massively underutilized in anime, so fucking talented. I got the chance to work with him on another project a couple of years ago and watched him firsthand, and like how goddamn great. You've heard him probably more commonly in a lot of Star Wars video games. I think he used to work for LucasArts. Yeah. And yeah, he was Yashiro, and so good. Because I do actually, I wonder about, so did Alex tell him, or would you have had any idea if Alex would have told him?
I don't know if Alex told him that he was the villain. Oh, no. Yes, he did.
Okay.
And he was just like, huh?
Really?
Because like when he sent out the audition signs, he did not send for that character. He didn't send a bunch of like evil guy stuff because he didn't want to hear a bunch of people going like, I am the villain.
Right.
So he just sent all the nice guy stuff.
Yeah.
And he was like, by the way, now that you're here, oh, you're the villain, you're the murderer. And he's just like, oh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
So like most of that stuff that you hear him doing in the early stuff that's just him being genuinely a nice person.
Yeah.
Which is why the character's so fucking unsettling.
Yeah. And it's funny because what was his nickname that you call him? The red herring character that Max plays.
Yata? No.
It's like you something. It started with a U. I can't remember.
Yeah.
So that
his name's you.
No, it was you something. Like, it was like a longer than that. Whatever. But that character, you could tell right away. It's like, okay, this is the red herring.
Yeah.
He didn't really do it, and it's very. I wouldn't say it's made so obvious, but it is made apparent that the teacher is the killer.
Yeah.
Because of the very little subtle things, first and foremost, that they do with the camera angles and the way that they place him and like where they will hang on him on a shot for just a little longer than like, and he's always just like, he happens to be there and he's just always being really nice and always, and like moments where he's like, you see him talking to some of the kids and like there's like those three girls are like, he's gonna take us to the thing or whatever, and I'm like, oh God.
No.
Yeah. And the one moment, this is the last night when I was just like binging through episodes. I think it was the last one that I watched second to last. The thing opens up and the candy falls out, and I was like, okay, like it just, I flipped, because it's building and it's going there, and it's just like that thing with Kyle where I'm like, she's gonna die at any moment, and it's not gonna be happy.
And then there's me watching that going, bullshit, yeah, candy, red herring, yeah, I know the real killer is, and it ain't that guy, come on.
It's like, it's so uncomfortable. That sequence with him and Sachiko in the back, in the car, it's so uncomfortable. Like, and then the second, like, and even, what is it, when they're at the like hockey rink or whatever, and he's like, I saw her go outside, and I'm like, she didn't go outside, she was in the back, but it didn't even occur. It just somehow, it was a brain fart, and it was a perfect misdirect that he made that got me fooled, and then they're in the car, and I'm like, wait a minute, and then they're in that, and then they're in the tunnel, and I'm like,
too late.
Oh no, oh God. Scary shit, so well, and then the ending stuff was a little, so I know the ending is different from the manga, which I think you told me even all the way back then.
Yes. I have not read the manga, so I don't know exactly how it ends.
Yeah, I don't know if it's legally available. If it is, I would be willing to check it out. I think my vague understanding of just looking at a couple things about it, like people saying online, is that there's a lot more. Like that actual last little bit, so after the timeline changes and your whole history has been rewritten, your future history, that is. I think that there's a lot more of that part of the story that goes further than where it was in the show.
I see.
I don't know if it ends quite the same, or like how things are quite executed differently necessarily. But I think that that part of the arc is like longer and extended to have some different things like more to it than like how it works or whatever.
Okay.
Excuse me. That said, I know that some people, I guess apparently don't like the ending of the series very much.
Yeah.
I guess it's a Fullmetal Alchemist situation where at the moment I'm like, okay, well this is what I'm seeing and I like it all right. I might read the manga and may inevitably like the manga ending more.
It's possible.
But in this moment, for right now, what it is, I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I think all of the loose ends are tied up, I think, pretty sensibly. I actually like that no one died in the end, including the villain.
Yeah.
And even like the end of his arc with this kind of weird obsession that he kind of unwittingly gets with Satoru. Was unexpected and kind of interesting because I felt that it gave a little bit of an additional layer to it.
Well, and also because their relationship, when he's a kid, he looks up to the villain of the show as like, you're like this father I never had, and so now he kind of is this father in a messed up way, where it's like he's like, I want to kill you, but I can't kill you because I need you and I love you in this weird messed up like.
And again, it doesn't even come off in this weird like perverted like sexualized way.
It's not sexual.
It's like this like
this need for another person.
Yeah,
who
like
gets
this
who
like
understands
life.
you.
Yeah. Well, because this whole thing about like filling the void or whatever, which I remember for a minute, I was like still liking the tunnel, them in the car scene.
Yeah.
But part of me was like, why are you explaining everything to him?
Yeah.
Like it's like why are you villain monologuing? You're syndroming to him right now, fucking Incredibles or whatever. But then I was realizing, wait, no, he's opening up to this kid because of that weird, fucked up father-son obsession thing that that they just ended up having somehow.
Yeah.
I think again in retrospect, the stuff I would have loved to explore with Satoru is maybe even him not having a dad being a source of, is that why he's kind of closed off? Is that what, or maybe like would that feed into the type of stories that he tries to write and the characters he tries to create in his manga? Like there's little bits of that I'm like, there's little holes, maybe not holes, but like things that could have been filled in.
To be fair though, if he did that, he probably would have been picked up as a manga artist. They would have been like, wow, this is really deep. There's so much stuff. Because I mean, that's kind of part of his whole thing is that like it all seems so empty. All of his art just doesn't seem like it has any heart in it. And so this is sort of him like learning about it. That's why like I think it's been a while since I've seen the show. Doesn't he actually become a successful manga artist?
Yes, at the very end.
So it's kind of like
he's like, congrats on having your manga picked up. The funny thing to me about that is actually he also, with as I was even thinking about this, I was drawing one of my characters who is Asian, and they're supposed to have black hair. But often I notice in anime, when a character is supposed to have black hair, they'll shade it to be like a color just to like give it a little bit more like shine to it.
Right.
So like he has bluish hair.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be black hair, but it's shaded blue. So he looks like the main character. You know that series I worked on, Bakuman, where it's about the two kids that want to be manga artists?
Oh, yeah.
He looks like the artist character. And then literally that scene of him talking to the editor or whatever, I'm like, this is just a scene in a Bakuman. And even like, congratulations on having your show picked up. I'm just like, did I just step into the other show? What happened? And even, no, Kenya, if he just had glasses, he looks like the writer kid from that.
Yes.
From Bakuman. Yeah. I was like, oh my God. It's probably by coincidence, but it was funny to me.
Totally.
Yeah, I think, God, I'm trying to think of what else there, I mean, we've been going for already an hour about this, but what else is there to talk about with this? I mean, we've gone over the characters, the time travel stuff, working on it. What was the reception like? So when it came out and it hit, like, what was the reception like at you seen?
As far as I can tell, so it's one of these shows that's been very critically praised, but that's not a big deal.
Not super popular.
No, it's one of those. It's kind of a niche show that like a lot of people know about, but a lot of people haven't actually seen.
Yeah.
So I was actually very glad that it came to like Hulu, so that people with the streaming service could actually watch it.
Yeah.
And getting it on Blu-ray and DVD is fairly expensive, so it's nice to have like an alternative to that.
Yeah.
Because it's a good show, and people really busted their buns on it. Buns. I could have said that.
She's gonna kick my butt.
No, my buns. Oh, not my buns.
And it's interesting too because I mean we of course we talked about the Death Note American live action thing with Casey a few years ago, and when we watched that, and but it's funny because I do think about like not every anime gets picked up for a live action series, whether it's made in Japan or America, depending. Or sometimes both if it's Death Note, or multiple times if it's Death Note.
Yeah.
But the fact that Erased got one, and I haven't seen it, I don't know.
Neither.
I don't know the differences. I guess I'd be kind of interested to see if there's any major differences.
Is that Japanese produced?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I would hope so because the whole place takes place in Japan. So,
But even then, actually, like I kind of even would almost be curious to see like. I guess, but then again, there's Stranger Things, so it's like but then there's maybe there's time travel in the third season over the summer. Who the fuck knows?
You never know.
But no, I really do love the premise of like the time traveling through your own mind concept. That's why I goddamn dream drop Distance. You could have been done better.
Oh, hey.
Sorry, Xehanort.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Jeez. Lay off me, God, whatever. Fucking, yeah, I don't know. I guess a part of me does almost wish that it would have taken off a little bit more than
That would have been
recognition.
cool.
It was never on Adult Swim or anything, I guess.
Was it?
Or was it? Wait, no, maybe it was.
God,
Oh,
you know,
man.
I totally don't.
Look it up.
Okay.
Look it up.
I'm gonna look it up.
I actually feel like it might have aired at one point. But in general, I mean, like, I guess, yeah, most people I've talked to who have seen it already are like, oh, yeah, no, that show's great. And then sometimes they get I don't like the ending very much or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer. But, yeah, if anything, I'm kind of sad that I missed the boat on it, like, when it was out at the time. I would have, because then I would have recommended it more to people, you know, at the time that it was, like, kind of, you know, in its era, I guess. But,
yeah, and I don't think it was on. I couldn't find anything.
okay, yeah.
So
Or somebody correct this, but yeah, no, if not, yeah, I think it would have done great on Toonami if it wasn't.
Really
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
But to be fair, it's not really a typical Toonami show. It's not like an action show.
Maybe not, but well, not everything. I mean, Promised Neverland is about to be on there. I don't
that's
think
true.
that's an action show considered. But I don't know that show.
Yeah.
I don't know that show, and also it's about children. And the only thing I know about Promised, I'm not gonna do a Promised Neverland Kirblog because I'm not watching it in Japanese right now. I do want to watch the dub. So probably next year I'll do one on that show. Although then again, it's a shonen series, so it might go on for fucking 700 years for all I know. But yeah, I mean, like, you know, that's all I know about that show is kids, and then bad things happen.
Oh, no.
That's all I know.
Oh.
And a bunch of friends of mine are in it, so, you know. But, yeah, well, and I mean, and listen, as even just as far as the dub, I mean, you know me, I'm massively critical of dubs and
Yes.
adaptation and dub performances and directing, and it's like perfect.
It's a
like
good show.
it's everything about that, even just the dub production of it. It's like it's fucking perfectly cast and executed and written and directed and like, God.
Good job, Alex.
Yeah, Alex, you piece of shit. I love you. I love you, Alex. Yeah, no, it was great. I can't even be jealous that I didn't get to be Satoru because you were fucking amazing. Like
thanks,
seriously,
dude.
like.
I don't get to play that very often.
Yeah,
It's
like
usually
the really serious shit.
Yeah, just like the hey, what's going on? It's usually just
It's usually screaming and hurting your throat a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hi. What should I do for Mob Psycho? Oh, I die in a fire for 30 minutes
Screaming
straight.
really loudly.
Oh, okay. And
God
take one.
almighty, Yeah. Congratulations. You were great though.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, and even Kyle got to be in it because he had a call back for Satoru as well, and he got to be the older version of Hiromi, I believe.
Oh, okay. And Xander was in that.
And,
too.
and Xander was older Kenya.
That's
So
right.
he was.
Yes.
So when Erica Mendez grows up, she's going to be Xander, and when Christine Cabanos grows up, she's going to be Kyle McCurley. Apparently, that's how that's worked.
There you go.
How that
It's
works.
canon now.
And apparently, when you were a child, you were Michelle Ruff.
Okay.
So.
Wow.
And when you're an adult, you're Richard Epstein.
Wow, the many faces of Ben Diskin's
Apparently,
life. Apparently.
yeah. Anyway, well, I guess that's it.
Wow. Yeah.
So, thanks everybody for joining. Thank you for literally. I watched the show in the last 12 hours, and then I was like, Ben, can you come over and can we do a Kirblog
And I
about
said,
Erased?
Let you out of the wall first.
And you chipped me out of the wall, and then we did this.
He's like, all right, get over here. He's like, anyway.
Oh, the
Anyway.
asbestos.
Jesus Christ. Well, that's going to do it. So, okay, at the moment, I'm waiting to hear back on if I might possibly have one more guest for this year. If not, then I will potentially have one more Kirblog for Anime April this year, which will be my talking about both my first and second hand, and I guess third hand experiences of the Chimera Ant arc of Hunter x Hunter, where you got to scream your lungs out.
That's
all the
right.
time.
Another role of Ben Diskin yelling.
So yeah, the arc wrapped up on Adult Swim a couple weeks ago.
This is the Chimera arc thing.
Yeah, and they're just getting into the last arc of the 2011 anime, airing the rest of that.
Cool.
And shout out to all my friends who got to be a bunch of the new characters that just premiered. Woohoo! And yeah, so I am definitely going to talk about that. That will likely be the last Anime April Kirblog of this year. But if one or maybe a couple of the other guests come out of the woodwork after all, in time for the month to be over, then I will try to get that. Maybe I'll have it extend into anime.
Yeah, I was
even
gonna
though,
say.
Even though it's supposed to be
April.
no, it's supposed to be
Mayerville?
Mayerville.
Oh, Mayerville.
Because I got to do a.
Well, that's a tough one to sell, though.
Well, no, I mean I've done it before. I'm gonna do.
It's still a tough one.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a Captain Marvel review and a Endgame review because both of those I'll have to talk about.
That's true.
So there will be some content for that, and yeah. So anyway, well, Ben, thanks for joining.
My pleasure.
Any other last thoughts about? I don't know. Have people come up to you at cons and talked about Erased before?
Once in a blue moon, I'll have like a couple people saying, "Hey, I really like that thing," and I'm like, "Oh, you saw Erased? Thank you."
You're not just talking to me about Kingdom Hearts again? Is that what you get the most?
No, it's probably Kids Next Door.
Still, really?
Still Kids Next Door.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you doing any new cons for a while?
Oh yes. I'm going to my first furry cons.
Oh, that's right. Oh, wait, you haven't been
Yeah.
yet?
No.
I keep thinking you've done that already.
No.
Talk about that, because actually,
yeah.
I did think about doing an Agretzko Kirblog this year with you.
Oh, that'd be
I'll
fun.
probably save that for next year, because they've announced they're doing season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, we'll have more episodes. We'll have more to talk about at some point. So now I'll resign. Next year, I'll do Agretzko for Anime April 2020.
Yay.
I promise. So, anyway, but any other last things to say to anybody?
Thank you so much for sitting through over an hour's worth of us talking about this show.
And if you liked the show, hopefully.
Yes.
I imagine you've seen it if you made it this far.
Or you just don't care and you just wanted to hear two people blabbering into a microphone while you're
Sure.
doing other stuff.
Into my Samsung C01U microphone
That's
that
right.
I
Not a
have on top.
Samsung, a Samsung. That's
different.
Yeah, totally different brand.
Follow on
yeah.
at Benjamin Diskin.
At Benjamin Diskin on Twitter. If you have just nothing better to do and you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm at Ben Diskin there, and I post nothing.
Good.
Why are you wasting your time?
Good.
Technically on Facebook, but real talk, just follow me on Twitter. That's where
Watch
everybody is.
Muppet Babies.
Oh, and Muppet Babies.
I keep asking you to plug things like you have anything new that's come out.
That's come out that I can talk about?
Ultraman.
Oh yeah,
Hey,
Ultraman.
Ultraman. As
I'm the manager.
yeah, does he have a name?
No.
Okay.
I am the manager. I'm the pop star's manager. And they had me like say some stuff that I don't think was in the Japanese, but it was fun.
Oh.
Like, yeah, what's up, Steve Marino? And it's like the actual line is just like, oh, thank you so much for calling me.
I feel like I remember. Yeah, that sounds.
Shout out to Jeff Nimoy who directed that one.
Did a great job.
Yeah.
I'll have a link. I did an Ultraman review Kirblog this past couple weeks ago, and then, or when you're hearing this, it was a couple weeks ago, and working on Sailor Moon Supers as well.
Yeah.
So go check those out. That'll do it. I'll see you next for either whatever secret guests. If I don't get them or not, then no.
Then
and
it's just
you'll
going to
see
be
the
me
Hunter
again,
one.
just yelling at you.
So let me tell you.
How
let
come
me-
you
let-
can't get any guests?
Let me talk to you
Kirby?
about Code Geass. I've still never seen Code Geass. I'm sorry. Fucking A. All right, bye everybody.
Goodbye.